everybody. We're back with another vlog. This time we're going to be talking about Kung Fu Panda 3.
Jeez, why don't you yell a little bit louder?
I want to make sure the people at home hear me.
Oh, okay. Well,
all the way in our living room.
yes, exactly.
Through the internet.
Well, to talk about Kung... Well, actually, that's not true. To not talk about Kung Fu Panda 3, now that we've begun rolling, we will first discuss the very short trailer section that we had and didn't really like or remember. Basically, we apparently we only had 3 trailers. Each was like a minute long. And although I know the names of the movies, they didn't actually go out of their way to explain anything. We had, what was it, Storks... Trolls and Angry Birds,
Those
all
were
very
more
commercial
teasers than anything else.
Yeah, and they were all very commercial. Like literally, they were all about commercial products: Storks, Trolls, and Angry Birds. It's like
Trolls and Angry Birds, especially. Yeah.
Oh yeah, geez. So like, yeah, just sell us some more tickets. Why don't you?
They weren't. Nothing was particularly memorable, and
the Angry Birds trailer was the one that they had already shown, several months back.
I'd seen the Storks one before.
Oh really?
Yeah. Yeah, it's the one where the babies are falling off, continuously falling off a conveyor belt.
That really bothered me.
I get the feeling that that's what they were going for. I've seen it a couple times actually.
Okay.
And I think this is like a technique that someone who was making the trailer came up with.
Oh, so like whoever worked at Quiznos moved on to making like movie trailers, and instead of like trying to sell you something you like. Now they're just going to annoy the piss out of you, so that you remember how angry you
You're thinking of the creepy hamster.
Yeah, the zombified hand, like, we like ourselves!
Right.
Yeah. It's very memorable because of how angry I was.
Yeah, this time they're just apparently just trying to create anxiety in the viewer as a way of keeping their attention, I guess.
That's really terrible.
I hope the movie isn't really like that.
You know, I bet you it is.
I don't think I could stand that.
I bet you it is.
An hour and a half.
Oh, God. If it's an hour and a half, it'll be too long.
But then I raised the question, speaking of the trailers.
What the trolls
What is trolls? What are trolls? What even is this?
It's, like I said, they're ugly dolls with crazy hair.
I remember them as pencil toppers.
Yeah, and they have the hair.
They were in Guardians of the Galaxy, so you can merchandise them now again.
But I'm just saying,
even though they haven't been popular for like 30 years.
I mean, I don't know how you tell a story with trolls, with troll dolls, but even as a toy, I don't understand the concept. It's just an ugly baby with hair.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, how is that even a product?
And apparently they're delicious.
Yeah,
according to the trailer.
So I guess the one thing we know about the plot is that they're being hunted down by really tall creatures.
Or they're tiny.
Whatever.
Something's eating them. That's the premise.
Is it though?
That's all we were given. Okay.
Well, let's end the trailer discussion on that note, since the trailers weren't really that great. However, Kung Fu Panda starts off with a bang, and I should warn all of the people through the camera into the internet that when we do vlogs, we always do spoilers. We've seen the movie. We assume you've seen the movie. It's time to discuss the movie.
Right.
The intro was one of the most badass kung fu sequences I've seen in any movie ever, and it really did set the tone for how great this movie was going to be. And the fact that basically it left us with a feeling of wanting more. Mm-hmm. Like, this is a great place to end, especially with, the very final sequence and the end at the end of the movie. But it almost didn't feel like the end. It was like, oh, okay, it's the end. So when's the next movie coming out?
Yeah, because I felt like it was
just from beginning to end, and like I said, that first intro sequence, we got something new. They introduced us to the spirit world, and that's where the first sequence took place. And it was like an anime fight. It was this really badass kung fu battle.
They're already blowing you away with the first scene.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that we saw it in the theater on the big screen.
Yeah. Oh god, yeah.
And this was like an extra big screen too. It wasn't IMAX, but it was extra
right.
big.
No, it was widescreen. But I definitely enjoy. I think now that I think about it, or now that you bring up, that point, if we had waited for this to like come out on DVD and we saw it then, I don't think it would have given me the same feeling.
It would have been cool.
It would have been cool,
wouldn't have blown you away.
Right.
Like
no, I mean, and I think that's important. Discussing movie techniques, because I'm trying to make this as long as possible because I really did love this movie and I really would like to talk about it. Discussing movie techniques, they want you to remember how blown away you were, so that when we do get it on DVD, we're still going to be blown away because we already saw it.
We'll be remembering how we saw it on the big screen.
Right.
Hopefully.
Yeah. No. Well, that's what I think anyway. We got to see the turtle actually fight. Mm-hmm. And he was awesome.
It was great to bring that character back,
especially since he's just implying like, oh yeah, I'm chilling out in the spirit world because I want to. Mm-hmm. So I was researching on the internet. The villains do die. Poe kills the villains.
Yeah,
but basically no one else dies.
Yeah.
And that's I guess our big. I mean that's our. I mean I say we're going to have spoilers, but there's really nothing to spoil. The trailers are spoiled everything anyway.
Yeah, Poe's dad is in it.
Yeah, and that's the biggest spoiler.
His long lost father.
Right, and that's the biggest. That's the big spoiler, which is surprising because I totally thought one of the dads was going to die, and spoiler, it doesn't happen, and I really like that. They didn't kill off any of the characters we actually care about unnecessarily.
Because you would think, my assumption would be that either they want, at the end of the story, you return everything to the status quo, how it was before, or just otherwise you have to resolve, like how can he has two dads, they're pulling him in different directions, sort of.
Right, well, throughout the movie.
One wants him to work in the noodle shop.
Right.
One wants him to live with the pandas.
Yeah.
How are you going to resolve this?
And then his third father figure, Sifu, wants him to be the dragon warrior.
Right, sure. So how do you resolve this without getting rid of one of them? And
they did it really well.
Yeah.
Like this whole movie. That's my critique of this whole movie, or not critique, but that's the resolution I've come to having watched this movie. Everything they were doing, they did really well. like they thought of things to do, and they were like, how do we do this and not screw it up? And they managed to do exactly. They didn't
screw anything up.
They didn't screw anything up.
Yeah.
Anything they set up, they didn't screw up. The individual details of this movie, obviously made it much better as a movie than lots of other movies. I commented, or at least this is what I feel, and I commented to you guys after the movie. DreamWorks movies right now seem to be going out of their way to make these impressive world-driven stories where lots of stuff goes on in the background. You have to watch their movies, 3, 4, 5 times to actually see all of it, which makes it feel like a real place. You don't catch everything the first viewing. You might catch a lot of it, but like you go back and watch it, you're like, oh, there's this guy in the background, like juggling dumplings or whatever. Sure I totally didn't notice that.
There's someone whose job it is just to direct background action.
Yeah, no, there must be, because it seems like there's so much going on in the in the background. You can make a whole other movie.
Or you could set another story in the world.
Right, exactly. You haven't said much yet, but I know one of the things that you liked was the music. So.
Yeah, I really liked Kai's theme. I felt like it had an Old West kind of feel to it, in addition to the Oriental feel, the kind of twangy thing going on.
That's true.
Yeah.
With the pace at which he moseys up to whoever.
That's true. He always moseys. Yeah, and he's swinging these two blades on the ends of chains, and I noticed
those are cool weapons.
That the pace of the song is set to that. Yeah, it's like part of the music almost.
Yeah, it makes him sound like a heavy hitter.
Yeah.
Like
well, there's another thing. Like I said, they did everything well. There's another thing they did well. They really set up this villain who we've never seen before and probably don't really care about, at least at the beginning of the movie, in such a badass way that it's like, oh, I totally believe he can be the third villain. After 2 movies of these very these escalating badasses, you start the movie, start the first movie off with the villain who's literally like the best kung fu master ever. It's like, well, where do you go from there? Then we get to a guy who's built like a super weapon,
and then
we get to basically like an evil like spirit monster god
He's
thing.
a spirit warrior, and he has magic powers.
Right.
That, basically he can steal the chi of other kung fu masters.
Yeah, and
he absorbs the entire kung fu master, turns them into a little jade figure, bubble thing. They can then turn into a jade zombie
or a zombie.
A zombie.
Yeah, that he can control.
You said you didn't like. You said you didn't like the term zombie.
Well, Zombie is a character from Pee-wee's Playhouse.
Right, I know. That's what I was thinking too. That's what
I didn't mind.
Too. But it works great as a power for this villain to make him formidable because
it's essentially a necromancer.
Yeah, he is, and not only is he becoming more and more powerful as the story goes along, but he's eliminating all the other kung fu masters.
Right.
So it comes down to just Po, basically.
Well, Po and Tigress.
Yeah, they're the ones left who can fight.
Yeah. Speaking of the kung fu, once again, the action. I mean, it's having seen a behind-the-scenes thing. Like the fact that it looks like these CGI characters are doing real kung fu, like. Well, that's easy to do with a real-life person because they are just doing real kung fu. To make a computer-animated character do these moves that are so complicated and, fast-paced and, precision striking and hard-hitting, it's like, that's super impressive. They were real kung fu fights in a CGI movie. Yeah. And it was like, I was just blown away how badass everybody seemed. Mm-hmm. Like
the fight scenes were very inventive.
Yeah.
Too, and just fun to watch.
Yeah, I mean, the action kept me entertained. I did not stop laughing from the moment the movie started to the moment the movie ended. Like, even with all the interpersonal drama stuff, like, it's just one of the, once again, it's just one of the funniest movies I've seen. Like, they did a really good job upping everything, music, humor, action, from the second movie. Like, the first movie was great. The second movie improved in some areas, but I thought it kind of was I thought it was just as good as the first one. Yeah. But the third one blew both totally out of the water. Like, the third one was just the best way to end the trilogy.
The second one was just kind of a sequel.
And it was set up almost for the third one. Yeah. Like, we learned Poe's backstory and the fact that his dad's alive.
Well, maybe that's why the third one's so good, because it's paying off all the stuff that they
said. Yeah, no, it finishes up. Yeah, no, I just, like, everything was so great. The jokes, I mean...
It's like what you were saying afterwards. You're saying that it's a shame that it seems like it's the last one in this sort of trilogy. Yeah. But it's always the way. You're saying that when you are wrapping something up, that's always the best story. Yeah. That's when all the great stuff happens. Yeah. No. And then always you're like, well, now I want to see more.
Right. And then they make the fourth one and it's terrible.
Right. Yeah. So it's like, yeah.
But I think that really is how you have to do it. I'm writing my own set of novels and, I'm writing 2 trilogies. I'm writing 6 books. But I do kind of have to remember the philosophy of, when you're wrapping something up, that is it. Like, you do leave them wanting more, but that's the perfect way to wrap up a trilogy, is you leave them wanting more. Then, I obviously have to figure out what to do.
Then you merchandise, you sell the action figures.
Yeah, no, exactly, no. Oh, there was one, they had, like, my favorite joke was the meta joke that they made about franchising, like, Poe's goose dad, Mr. Ping or whatever, he starts saying how he's going to merchandise or franchise the Dragon Warrior name, and I'm like, I kind of feel like this is a meta commentary on their own movie. Like a little bit too real world for me. Like, oh man, they're totally telling us exactly what they're gonna do. Which is why I thought it was cool that I found out that this is, at least for now, the end.
Yeah, I was wondering about that because before the guy there was someone in charge of the franchise who had said that they were thinking of doing 6 movies.
Yeah, I mean, well, we basically had the theater to ourselves, so we were still discussing the movie while we were there. And, like, every scene I was kind of asking, how can they possibly do a 4th one? Right. Like, this just seems like the best they can do. Yeah. I mean, not in a bad way, but in such a good way that it was like, they can't do this better next
How are you
time.
gonna top it?
Right, exactly. So it's like, oh, this scene is great. How can they possibly make this any cooler?
Because the premise of this movie
Is he fights some guy with superpowers.
Poe is going to learn to chi control. He's
Right,
gonna
which
learn
will
to
make him a
control-
master. He's going to begin teaching other people.
Yeah, and he becomes a teacher.
Yeah.
So it's really an evolution of the character.
Right.
He's become a fully realized
Right,
Kung
no,
Fu master by the
right,
end of the movie.
Right, well, and actually, speaking of evolution, that's something we were discussing before the movie, and even during the movie. What I really like about the DreamWorks movies right now is that they keep in mind, and this is one of the golden rules of writing, is time has passed. Character development, characterization is constant and consistent. They haven't forgotten what happened in the last two movies.
Yeah.
These characters act like they've been through two movies worth of stuff.
Yeah.
Probably even more than just two movies. Like there's an entire, TV series. So they act, they act like they've grown since the beginning. I pointed out to both of you that in the first movie, everybody was very stiff and, old school kung fu. Poe shows up. The Furious Five are all very, kung fu mastery. By the third movie, they're joking. They have their own personalities.
Right.
They're better characters, and they're their own characters.
Still don't have their own names though. They're still just animals.
Right.
They're
Master Crane, Master Tigress, Master Mantis,
Yeah, that's true.
And then Master Sifu, which literally means Master. It's like,
right.
okay.
What is he supposed to be, actually?
He's a red panda.
He's a red panda?
Uh-huh.
He looks like a mouse.
Or a shrew, maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah, but
a pointy nose.
he's actually a red panda.
Don't red pandas have short nose, little snouts with the black nose?
Yes.
We can look it up later, man.
I'm sure the anthropomorphic model in a CGI movie fantasy is going to look exactly like the real animal.
They're all a little flat-faced, actually.
Well,
to make them more human. Yeah.
Sure. But are red pandas really that small?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
I think they kind of look more like raccoons, though.
I guess.
Maybe I'm thinking Snookies.
So, whatever.
So did the Furious Five? It's like they used to have names, but now that they're kung fu masters, it's just Master Snake, and
no.
Is Poe gonna be Master Panda at some point?
No.
so
they do call him Panda though. They don't call him by his name.
No, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Maybe they.
No, they didn't have names.
They didn't. So Crane, when he was a kid, was just Crane.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of weird because other people do have names.
Yeah, everyone else has names.
Yeah, well, I guess because they were destined to be. I don't know. Like I said, I do want to make this kind of a discussion. So why don't we discuss what none of us could agree on before the movie started? And that was, is one of the dads going to die? Well, and we all had, we mentioned it, we haven't discussed it yet. We all had different theories, and I've never been happier to be completely wrong. But let's start with each of our theories. Your theory was?
I said that I did think it was likely one of the dads would die for reasons I mentioned earlier, just to resolve what happens in the story. And I said it would probably be the panda dad, because basically that would sort of return, like I said, the status quo. Everything would go back to normal at the end. And also because he just shows up. He's just a character they just introduced, so it wouldn't be that devastating to get rid of him. Right. You wouldn't get that attached to him.
Right. Okay, I, on the other hand, was casting my vote for Mr. Ping, Goose Dad, to die. I thought he was going to be the one to bite the bullet because he is a character we care about, and it would shake up the status quo, and that's what I felt like they were doing with each movie, because each movie introduced something new and kept something new. It didn't just return to the status quo. I also thought that because of the marketing for this movie and how similar it seemed to the other big DreamWorks franchise, which is How to Train Your Dragon and How to Train Your Dragon 2. Spoilers.
We've already spoiled that one in a previous
another
video.
but maybe they haven't seen it. So spoilers for that. Spoilers for that movie. If you don't want to, quit watching now. Mm-hmm. But Stoic dies, and what the marketing there was they introduced the mom early, just like Panda Dad.
Right.
And they didn't say too much about the parent we had already seen and grown very attached to over the course of a movie. And then they kill Stoic off so that it tugs at your heartstrings. So what they could have done was introduced a new parent. We can't have two parents because that would be that would be too much. But they didn't. But obviously they didn't think that, and I'm really happy they didn't. I just because of that dynamic, because there are now two dads mentoring, or at least being a family with, the ultimate warrior or whatever. That could be the fourth movie in and of itself. What is the daily life of these three people?
Yeah, they didn't take the easy way out of just getting rid of somebody.
Yeah, no, they kept both dads, which was great. And it was so nice at the end. Like I said, I think it was intentional that the two dads team up against Sifu, his third father figure, in the big brawl where everybody's involved. Having them work together.
He's a zombie at this point.
Right, yeah, a zombie. And they have the two dads, double dad attack! Work together, and I thought that was really touching. I would really describe the ending of this movie, the ending fight plus, the many moral lessons, make this movie legitimately beautiful. I felt this movie was a beautiful piece of art. That is how I would describe this movie. It's not a movie, it's not, a fun experience. This was a beautiful work of art to me. I'm very sensitive. I cry pretty easily at movies. And throughout the movie, I was tearing up because of just how awe-inspiring and morally sound and really well done all of the emotions and drama and action was. It's inspiring, and I really loved it. I really loved this movie. The ending sequence was great.
Did you think that either of the dads was gonna die?
I didn't feel like
before we went in.
Yeah, you
it's not something I had even thought about. Well, except for the fact that you two were discussing it before the movie. I kind of figured that since neither of them had to die, and they already killed off a dad in How to Train Your Dragon 2, and really need to repeat that plot.
Right, and like I said, we all three of us had very differing opinions on the subject.
That's right. You were saying that you thought they wouldn't repeat the plot that they used.
So it turns out you were the one who was right.
That was true. Yeah, and like I said, that is.
They just happened to do it in such a great way.
It was the best way to go, and
especially since during the movie you changed your opinion because of one scene, and I thought, and there was one scene where even though I had read a synopsis to find out if one of the dads died, because I wasn't going to this movie if one of the dads died. Right. I just read the ending paragraph to find out if they were both still alive. I don't even actually remember what the synopsis was.
DoesTheDadDie.com.
Yeah, right, exactly. No, but I found out neither one of them did. But even watching the movie, there was one scene where we both were like, oh shit, one of the dads is gonna die.
You said.
I basically forgot I had read one of the dads, that both of the dads survived. I'm like, no wait, they're totally gonna kill off someone here. I'm like, no, don't do it. And then they didn't. I was like, oh, cool.
You said before you thought it would be the goose dad.
Yeah.
And I said I just can't picture that happening because he's never in danger. He's never in a fight. So how would he get killed?
Right.
But then, sure enough, at the end of the movie, there's a big battle scene, and both dads are fighting.
Yeah.
In the scene, it's like, no.
Yeah. There's one moment towards the end of the battle. Poe basically beat the bad guy, but the bad guy is immune to the finishing technique. And
his special move.
Yeah, and so that would be the perfect moment. Poe's been basically beaten back, the perfect moment to have someone sacrifice himself for Poe.
Exactly.
And I was like, no, no. And then they actually came up with a really clever way to avoid all of that.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, holy shit, this is amazing.
Well, speaking of emotional moments, I mean, Poe basically he does the finishing move on himself.
Yeah.
In order to draw the bad guy back into the spirit.
No, and I did cry. I was like, he's dead. Like,
So,
that means, like, because that's how they treat it in the movie. They treat that as, like, you're dead when you do that.
So he's stuck. Not only is he now stuck in the spirit world with the villain, but the villain...
A villain who, by the way, was able to escape from the
spirit world
with less power than he had now.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so now he's basically... The villain's
Trapped.
winning the fight.
Right.
He's got Poe chained up.
Yeah.
And he's stealing his chi.
Yeah, he almost won.
Yeah. And then so how does Poe recover from this? It's all his friends and family have to channel their chi to him.
Yeah.
Through into the spirit world.
Right, and both of you brought this up. It's like I said, as I described this movie, it's a beautiful work of art, and one of the most brilliant strokes in this painting of this world was when everybody uses their chi power, and you see the hands start to appear on the jade, and I'm tearing up now because of how I remember the scene, and it was just so lovely.
He's
I'm like,
being turned into stone in jade, he's being trapped, and then you
see these handprints. Like the first one appears on his heart too, in the air on the side where his heart is,
and it's his panda father's palm print.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh my god, that's so cool.
And then it's Mr. Ping's ring print on his shoulder.
Yeah, the second one is his goose spot.
Yeah,
yeah,
it was so great. Like it was just, God, yeah, no, it was great. Sorry, I'm really sensitive. I cry really easily. I'm a big wuss. But no, it really was.
But you're talking about how beautiful it was.
Yeah.
Also, I feel like visually.
Oh yeah.
They reach a new level with this.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. Like I said, the beginning and the ending both happen in the spirit world, and just his very simple, quiet, but also funny and relaxed discussion with Uguay, the turtle. Or Uguay, the turtle, at the end, they're just discussing, why Uguay chose him in the first place. And it's this very simple conversation. But it really goes to show how you can make anything good if you put enough effort into it. They're both wearing these brilliantly designed costumes, have these cool capes, and they're just talking. They're just talking like two old friends. Like, hey, I can't believe this is happening. Well, no, I can, because it was all, I saw the future of Kung Fu in you.
Right.
Blah, 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 etc., whatever. But it was just so cool. I wasn't like, oh man, the battle's over, let's leave the theater. I'm like, oh man, this conversation's really interesting. I want to know what's happening.
Yeah.
I was so invested in the movie in the moment. And I think more movies, live action or animated, should aim for this movie. They should aim to be as good as this movie.
I really like in the previous ones when they would sometimes they'd mix it up with the CG. Sometimes they would cut away to some 2D
you were talking
stuff.
about this.
They'd have flashbacks or something that would be 2D animated.
Yeah, but then the training montage in this movie took that and ran with it.
Yeah, basically in this movie, they bring the 2D elements into the 3D story. And, visually I feel like it's on another level.
Oh, yeah, no, definitely. They worked really hard on this.
I hope other animators take some cues from this, because it looks awesome.
Oh,
and like you said, the training sequence.
Just
they're integrating
everything
2D
blew us away.
and 3D.
Also the beginning where the Furious Five and Poe are running through town.
Oh yeah. Just everything. Oh my god, it was so great. You talked about Kai's theme before. My favorite two pieces of music, with the same piece of music but done differently. At the end, I thought this was a really nice touch. They played a remix of Kung Fu Fighting.
Yeah, they always have to play
and it was in Chinese, and I'm like, of course it is. That just makes sense. Why not?
Apparently this movie was also done in Mandarin.
It was actually done in several different countries.
I meant to look this up, but I think I heard that this was one of the first movies to be a joint production.
Yeah,
between
it's the Oriental DreamWorks Oriental Studios.
Chinese and American companies.
Yeah, I think I did notice them in the credits.
Yeah,
working
the
together.
Oriental DreamWorks was a partner on this, so like they co-produced with the regular DreamWorks studio.
This is going to happen more and more from what I hear. China's a huge market for movies right now.
Oh yeah, no, there's only like 6 billion
There's
people.
only-
There's only like 2 billion people in China.
Right.
Like way more than we have here. Why don't we make movies only only in Hollywood where like 4 people
Right.
will see them versus 2 billion? Because that
exactly.
only makes sense.
And they all need to go someplace where there's the air's being filtered out for smog.
Yeah, exactly.
What's that? So we get a little reprieve from that.
Yeah.
So and Kung Fu Panda is a great choice.
Yeah.
Because it has so much,
Chinese stuff.
culture and stuff in it.
It's set in China.
But and I was thinking about this when they do the Chinese release with. I assume they're going to redub it with Chinese voices. I hope they get Jackie Chan.
Oh yeah.
To voice.
Oh yeah,
Monkey.
no. Yes, that would be great.
What
I mean,
does
he
that
knows
make sense?
Chinese.
He speaks Chinese.
Yes, he is
Why
Chinese.
Not? Why not?
He'll be listed under a different name though, because Jackie Chan's not his Chinese name.
Oh wow. Is he not known by that name?
No,
There.
no. As far as I know.
Yeah. So,
I'm actually, I wouldn't be surprised if Jackie Chan wrote, like, Ghost wrote or advised on some of the like martial arts moves for this series.
Sure.
I mean, he's Chinese. He's a kung fu master. I mean, and he loves movie production. So I'd be really surprised if Jackie Chan wasn't like, oh, you guys are doing a movie about kung fu. Here's how you should do it.
He does have sort of a thing about promoting Chinese culture and stuff.
Yeah.
That is one of his interests from what I hear.
Yeah.
So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he got involved on that level.
Yeah.
In this movie, and I think all the other actors too probably contributed, not that stuff, but
Jack Black.
but I'm sure there's probably a lot of improvising and stuff.
Yeah.
There's a lot of funny people doing voices.
Oh yeah, no.
Movie.
Oh, speaking of actors, so J. Jonah Jameson was our villain.
That's who it was.
Yes, J.K. Simmons. J.K. Simmons.
Thought, a very distinctive voice, but I could not figure out who it was.
I really like this movie. Might be a little biased though, I have to admit, because I was born in the year of the dragon, and I am a Taurus. So the main villain was an ox, and the main hero was the dragon warrior. Right. So I'm kind of like, well, this is a movie about me and all of my interests. I love kung fu. I love animation.
Right.
Basically, I'm like, oh yeah, this is pretty much my favorite. No, my third favorite movie now. And I don't say that. I mean, I don't have favorite movies. I have 3 favorite movies because they are literally the 3 movies I've seen that have jumped to the top of my list and made that list. Annie is my first favorite movie. How to Train Your Dragon 2 is my second favorite movie. Kung Fu Panda 3 is my third favorite movie. And I have no shame in saying I only have 3 favorite movies. I don't have like a top 5 movies. Because I go to see a movie and it's like, well, this is a movie and that's nice. These movies, I'm like, holy crap, these are so good. When I tell people, you should watch a movie, the first 3 movies I'm going to recommend are these 3 movies. Mm-hmm. I'm going to say, if you never see any other movies in your life, see these 3 movies.
It was good. It's definitely we should get it. It's definitely one I want to rewatch sometime.
Like especially in your big screen TV there. Like I just so blown away. I like the fact, like I said, my favorite sequence was the big ending sequence with everybody fighting, including the pandas. That's part of the plotline. But what they do with that is so brilliant because there are a lot of moral messages in here. You're going to get kind of maybe overburdened with how morally upstanding this movie is, because every 5 seconds,
got a lot of messages.
Every 5 seconds is here is a new moral for you to comprehend.
Right.
And I like that though. I really do have a very strong sense that people should be more morally upstanding. Mm-hmm. So all of the morals to me, I'm just like, that makes sense. I love that.
They
That's
cram
cool.
so many messages, and it's like I mean, you
You
usually
can
be like,
you can pick one.
it would be like, be yourself, and that's like the main message or whatever.
Right,
be
no.
true to yourself. But
Yeah.
this is like that, but also like how to get along with people. But
well,
also
like it's okay to search for your identity and
Right.
not know who you are.
right, how
Like,
to be a teacher.
Right.
How to be, it's like all these different
how to be
like,
a good friend.
right, how to be a father.
Right.
All these like messages left and right all over the place.
I like that though. I really enjoyed that. Like, because I just enjoy. I mean, I guess maybe I enjoy, preachy stuff.
It
Like,
was good.
I enjoy the moral messages. I enjoy all of the moral messages of this movie. There's so much to say and so little time, and I could go on forever. And at the same time, like, there is nothing I can say bad about this movie, so I don't have a lot left. This movie was great.
It was good.
Like, it was really, really
Right.
great.
It was good, and we liked it.
Yeah. You can cherry pick. You can say like what your favorite scene is or what your favorite joke is, but I left the theater feeling like I could not have done any better if I was given the reins.
Those
I
are the guys
want
who
to see
change,
more.
yeah.
I want to see more, and I have not seen many other movies capable of the level of effort and love they seem to have put into this franchise and to this movie. To this movie's, beginning, middle, and end. Like, the story was great. When the end popped up, I wasn't like, that doesn't work. I'm like, oh, it's the end. Like, that sucks. No,
I know.
come back.
Yeah, now I feel like I'm gonna miss Kung Fu Panda now.
Yeah.
Gotta go back and watch the series.
Yeah.
I guess.
No, definitely. Like, I'm totally down to, like, after this, just like, let's download Kung Fu Panda and watch the series.
Yeah, exactly.
I have the first movie on Blu-ray. I'm planning to get the second movie on Blu-ray, and I will definitely get Kung Fu Panda 3 on Blu-ray, because there's just so much more I want to know about all of this now. Like, and that's kind of, if you're an aspiring writer, or if you're trying to go into, movies, watch this movie, because it is the perfect way to end a trilogy. This movie is not perfect. No movie is. But if you're going to end a series of 3 movies, you should highly consider stealing every plot beat, every story beat from this movie. Just copy it, because it did it so well. I mean, it like everything they did, like you said, I don't feel the need to change anything in my mind or on the, when they had the dads reconcile, it was great. When they had, Poe sacrifice himself and all his friends, step up to rescue him, it was great. When they had the pandas join Poe to become his panda army, and he taught them Kung Fu by just making their already known skills, more highly specialized, that was great. It was just, it was a feel-good movie with great action and great comedy that I unfortunately don't think we're going to see another of for a long time. Like, if there were more movies like Kung Fu Panda 3, it would be great. But right now we have Kung Fu Panda 3, and that's good enough for me. Like, I would watch this movie at any time. I just love it. I just love it.
Yeah, definitely gotta recommend it.
Alright, well, that was our review of Kung Fu Panda 3. Hopefully short and sweet. See you next vlog.
Alright, bye everybody.
Skadoosh.